Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 4. I am so excited. We already had a great conversation, and to everyone, welcome to the official first session. We're going to have a total of 20. So I'm very, very excited. And now I'm going to introduce you to a very special lady, and that is Susan. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. I'm excited that I'm opening this. I don't know how that happened, but I'm excited that I'm opening this amazing summit for you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And do you want to start with introducing yourself? Just sharing who you are and what it is you do on the planet.
Sure, absolutely. What I do on the planet, I love that. So I'm kind of known as a spiritual scientist, and the reason why I'm known as a spiritual scientist is because my background, I call it my previous life, but my background is psychology, psychotherapy, neuropsychology, you name it, all of that stuff. So I'm really scientifically driven, which means I'm very evidence driven. But then there's the other side of me where I'm a channel for the galactics. I've been a medium for 28 years probably now, nearly coming on 30 years. And I really do work from that perspective of being a soul having a human experience and the potential of who we can truly be. And so I balance that source part of me with the brain part of me, which is the scientist, so hence the spiritual scientist. And it really is a beautiful combination because I can make sense with people about perhaps why something's happening in their body scientifically, but I can also help them release it through the tools that I have and my incredible teams of guides that I work with. I can see into the body, I can see into the field, I can hear clairaudiently, so I can hear my guides speak to me like a continual frequency dialogue, and I can see when someone's shifting. So it's a really incredible job to do here on Earth, and I feel very honoured that, you know, I chose to come at the time of this incredible expansion of humanity, and for us to realize our incredible potential that we have.
Yeah. And so before I dive into the question, I'm just very obsessed with your whole, I call them my light tribe, but your universal team. And so I would love to know, how did you get access to them? And also, how long have you been accessing them? And because we talked about, now recently others are joining. I experienced that as well. Can you share a little bit just for the juice of it?
Sure, for the juice of it.
Yeah, I love it. It's always good. Yeah.
And so in the olden days, I call it, in my 20s, when I first became a medium and, you know, realized that we weren't just a mind and body, and I realized that we were a soul and that we could connect with other beings and, of course, loved ones that have passed over. When I started to realize that, I realized that that piece of trust of knowing that you're not on your own, you're not doing it on your own. That was kind of the key thing. And so the energy of the guides then was very, very different because my frequency was different. So it's not right or wrong. You know, if someone tells me they have a particular guide with them, and they might be Egyptian or Indian or Chinese or whatever they might be, and they're not galactics that work with them, it doesn't mean that it's wrong or right or good or bad. It just means that the frequency that we're operating under is a different frequency. So now what I've noticed, and this is just a shortened version, but over the many years, I've noticed that the more my frequency is refined, the more that different frequency of guides come in. So for example, just recently, and I was talking to you earlier on before we went live, the High Council, the Sirian High Council have been working with me. So when they come in with light language, and they're really clearing up true nuances of stories that we hold in our field. And so they haven't worked with me knowingly. They've obviously been with me, but they haven't worked with me knowingly until now. But before that, it was the Palladian Collective, and they're still here. I can see them standing ready and waiting here. Mother Mary works with me, Joshua, Kelzadek works with me a lot. Merlin comes in and works with me sometimes. sometimes the Egyptian guide comes in, and he was one of the first that worked with me, but many of them, I don't even know who they are. And you just feel this incredible feeling of support, strength, and a knowing that the universe has your back. So that's kind of a shortened version of the juiciness of guides. But I think we sometimes really want to know who they are. And when I run a channeling class, and many people want to know, well, who's my guide? What's that guide? Well, we have many, and they come in and out depending on the work we're doing. So depending on what I might be holding the space for in teaching, different guides will come in. If we're doing healing work, other guides will come in. And so it's kind of trusting that the guides that are with you right now are perfect for you. And we always create, which we will do today, create an incredible sacred space so that we know that who is coming into our frequency is of that pure unconditional love. Yeah.
I so love it. And that's actually why I asked the question, because this is a topic a lot of people wonder. Number one, we both started only channeling when we were 20, like consciously.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, oh, you're not born. Like, this is available. And I love how you say, depending on the frequency you live. Can you go deeper into that? Because we talked about alchemy, we're going to talk about, but how important it is to attune that frequency.
Yeah.
And can you dive into that a bit?
So we are, we are human. Obviously, we have a soul, we're having a human experience, and we are essentially a light being. And we chose to come down and experience emotion. And it's really about emotion. And, some people say it's a game, it's the game of life. It's fun. It's understanding that our frequency outside of us is a reflection of our frequency within. Well, that frequency comes from our belief systems, our traumas, our frequency of unconditional love. It comes from many different frequencies. And so what I often talk about is, if you imagine the frequency of guilt and shame and fear, it might feel a bit heavier, and we might feel it in our energy when we speak about it as eating curry all day long, and as I say, there's nothing wrong with curry, but essentially we don't want to eat it all day long because it would stay as a heavy frequency. And yet when we think of acceptance and unconditional love, then and freedom and peace, we see that as maybe a lighter food, and it might be fruits, vegetables, steamed fish, whatever it might be. So we kind of see that as a lighter frequency. Well, if you imagine you're inhabiting the world, and it's, you chose to come, like, this is an incredible time to be here, incredible transformation and expansion, and I hope I help people with that today. But essentially, those pieces of you, it's not your fault, you didn't do anything wrong, it's just that they're held within your frequency, and they are belief systems, what you were told as a child, what experiences you had as a child, but also the ancestral lineage. And we in scientific terms call it epigenetics. So we've brought that in our brain frequency, and our brain develops 10 to 21 days. So quite often you wouldn't even know you were pregnant. So that person has brought in the ancestral energy and past lives. So held all in the Akashic Records, our book of life, and essentially a living library. So we have the ability to connect in with those frequencies and say, okay, what is it outside of me? Maybe it's where I live, maybe it's my bank balance, maybe it's the relationships I'm in, friendships, etc., and romantic relationships. Maybe it's my physical body. All of those things are all showing you the measure of your frequency. So if there's something outside of you, or even your physical body, that's showing you something, then you're pulsing that frequency. Imagine it's sort of like a force field, and a pulsing field is going out to the universe and coming back to you as a message. Okay, so if your body is showing you a message, your soul is talking to you and saying alignment with mission, alignment with unconditional love, which is one and the same. Okay, and it's my mission to help people get on their mission. That is something that I figured out a little while ago, that that's what it's all about, to help people get on their mission. And essentially, as you step onto your mission, then these lower frequencies of shame, guilt, I'm not worthy, I couldn't possibly do that, I'm afraid of being seen, all of that stuff, that is not who you are. That is not who you are. It never was who you are. It's just those parts of you that need to be released. And as that frequency changes, and I specialize in trauma. I was a trauma specialist for many, many years in child protection. So that was my background. I worked in local authority for such a long time. And so I know that trauma held in the field creates belief systems. And those belief systems are not true. They're just belief systems that we chose to take on in that moment to help us keep safe. Yeah. So when we're looking at those, and I know this is your field as well, Sigrid. So it makes sense to us consciously and within us that if something happened, we created a belief around it. But it's one thing knowing it. Yeah. So talking therapy used to be the old way of doing it. And another thing, releasing it. So what the Galactics do, and many guides that we all work with, they're really helping us see that it is our opportunity now to really be an incredible alchemist in this world. And that is about ascension. And so, one of the things, can I share something that the guides channeled to me this morning? Is that okay?
You can share everything, actually. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
So they said to me, I'm going to read it because they came in with it. And this was the Sirian High Council and the Palladians. The Palladians are very polite, by the way. They always come in. We are the ninth dimensional Palladian collective, and we're very pleased to assist you. They always do that, and I love that. So alchemy comes from ascension, which comes from releasing judgment, fear, shame, guilt, trauma, which comes from having compassion for ourselves and for others, essentially remembering that we are all one. And so that in itself is saying that actually what I got from that was we're on this ascension pathway, but what is that? Okay. That is actually remembering we are all one. And as we do that, we are letting go of the judgment. And the judgment takes us, this is what I feel, takes us back into the 3D. So the shame takes us back into the 3D, the guilt takes us back. And I don't want people to be worried about this, but it's just an observation. So if you feel that, and the world, the awakening that's happened over the last couple of years, which we've all been in, that awakening has been an amazing opportunity for us to see, well, where am I best placed? Do I need to travel to work every day, or can I work from like this, online internationally? I was already doing it many years before, but some people have just stepped into that because actually they realize they don't have to travel. So what part of you is shifting? And those parts of you are usually parts of you that you haven't looked at. Yeah, I should do this, I shouldn't do that. These are all of the belief systems that are held within us. So the alchemy part is really that part where we know that as we are that frequency of expansion, love, living our true mission, actually manifesting comes to us because of our frequency, not necessarily because we are saying every day, I love you, I love you, I love you, right? It is about, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, but it is about really that frequency of feeling it. And of course, sometimes we've shut down so much and we've shut our heart down so much because we had to. Yeah, we had to keep safe. And then what happens with that is that we are then feeling that disconnect when we were never disconnected, and we never are. We are all one. We are all connected. The guides are just an extension of our all oneness. You and me, and I am you, and animals were all one. But we feel disconnected. And when we feel disconnected, we then feel that we're doing it on our own. When we're doing it on our own, there's that fight and flight, sympathetic nervous system that kicks in. Our digestion shuts down. This is a bit of science here, but our digestion shuts down. Our breathing changes. So we're no longer taking in the breath of life. So we shallow breathe. And then what happens is we go into that cycle of fear and distress, and like, oh, I couldn't possibly do that, or I'm going to die of something. Do you see what I'm saying here? So essentially, when we can come into these places, and it's not a quick fix, when we can come into these places like you're holding here, Sigrid, today, and for several weeks, that you come into this place of remembering who you are, and remembering that there is such infinite potential in your life. I get excited every day because I'm like, wow, I wonder what is possible. A book's just about to come out, Awaken the Light Within Your Heart, through Hay House. It's so exciting. I'm like, where's that going to take me next year? Maybe I'll come out to the States. That would be amazing. Where is it taking me? Yeah. So I'm open to the possibility, and yet I don't know. And I quite like not knowing, because I'm in the space now where I totally trust. So I don't need to know where it's going. I just feel, oh, it's interesting. It'll be really fun. And I'm there. I'm ready. Yeah. So it's when you come into that place of trust, trusting that you are this incredible divine being, that you volunteered, that you chose to come at this time to bring expansion, and that frequency is who you are, you then have got that opportunity to look at what is pulsing out in your external world, if it's your bank account, whatever it might be, and you can go, oh, okay, where is it in me that I feel a lack? Yesterday, for example, we ran a money retreat, working with that. And it's like, where am I in lack? Where am I creating debt? Where am I, that kind of thing, and the emotions. And then you can really look at the emotions and drop down to the emotions and release the emotions. And then your frequency shifts.
I love it so much, because I think you just painted the whole picture, the concept, but also the clarity on the how. And I also think people know it's about this, but it is able to land differently. I can feel that for a lot of people, like, it's not just mindset, like change your mind. Like, it used to be more superficial, but now it's like, we actually get to access the depth of the transformation.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so it's not like you're repeating that what used to be said like 10 years ago. It's a completely different alchemy, which is available. Can you share a little bit more? Because sometimes people might hear like, and I already know this, and I'm like, actually hear what has been said, because allow this to land in bigger ways, because I can feel this is so important right now.
Yeah.
That through the fastness of life, people kind of hear it and then they're like, okay, but it's like, you're actually sharing the gold right here.
Yeah. And what I share, I'll just share here, because I feel it's really important, is that I've been there, done it, worn the t-shirt, made the film. I was in lack. I was in separation. I was in something outside of me will fix me. Yeah, I was in that. And I blamed. And I was, especially in relationship with my father of my children all those years ago, it was like, he did this to me. Yeah. And then when you really take that responsibility for attracting what you're attracting, you're halfway there, because you're not in that blame. And as the guide said this morning, you're not in that place where you're judging others. You're coming into that place of saying, okay, I take responsibility. I can see that. And I think that is where we have to go now, is that we have to say, yeah, we've got government. This might be emotive, but I'm going to say it. So we've got government, and we're like, well, how do we feel about government? Right? What is it about government? Because we probably had incredible lifetimes. Orion, there was the War of Orion, maybe we were there, maybe, we experienced all that. There was Atlantis. There was many other times when we tried, my guides say, when we tried to reach ascension, when we tried to get to this place where we really could remember who we were and that abundance and peace and everything is there for us. Real expansion, bringing our message to the world. The guides say, what is our message that we're bringing to the world? So going back to that, actually, we really do need to look at ourselves. Whether you're just starting out on this journey or whether you've been on this journey for a long time, everyone's being fast tracked. I really believe that. When I became a medium many years ago, I kind of didn't want to be a medium. Yeah, and I was in my 20s and I was like, no, I'm a psychologist. I don't want to do that. Right. But everyone now really wants to know how to connect with their true GPS, their soul guidance. And I didn't want to. I was resisting that. So now is the time for us to really remember who we are and remember that we are our own inner healer. That, yes, I help people heal. I'm the channel for that. But you really are the healer. We came in to remember that we can heal ourselves. And of course, we resonate with different facilitators and different channels for healing. And that's really important. But we have to remember that we came in knowing that our body is the barometer for our soul and that it's always talking to us. And that as we listen to that and we listen to these parts of us, whether it's I'm afraid, whether it's I couldn't possibly do that, whatever it is, whether it's very small or much deeper, resentment is a key one. If we hold resentment knowingly or unknowingly, then it's really hard to manifest, because that resentment, especially of mother, is that resentment of Mother Earth, is that resentment of being human. So it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If we feel any resentment, especially of mother, then we are resenting our journey here as humans, which of course shuts down the flow of manifesting and bringing that beautiful expansion into our heart.
Yeah, I love that so much because it's all so connected. And so I was like listening to you, and I know some people go from like what you shared, right? I went through that journey as well. Like nothing worked, like everything was a mess. And I just transformed it one by one by one. I would focus on one arena. Like first it would be a new relationship after my divorce. Then it would be this, then business, then money, then like I would go through all the things.
Yeah.
And then there's also this moment where you're actually like, everything just works.
Yeah.
So it's no longer, also I know a lot of like people here, it's no longer like only struggle. It would be going out of the struggle into finally being. A lot of people are already being, but now there's the access to the abundance and overflow, and allowing this into our lives will actually set everything like change. Can you talk into that? Because it's a different level of creation and alchemy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I feel about that is that, we start to notice a ripple effect. I know people talk about that a lot, but the ripple effect goes out in the whole of our life. So our relationships with our children, if we have any, change. Our relationships with our friends change. Our relationship with ourselves changes. And we start to notice there's a bit more peace. And each day there's a little bit more peace. Then what happens is when you remember that on a soul level, on a soul essence frequency, that your team has your back, you're always guided, you're always looked after, feathers appear, right? Things like that. You start to see that. And you start to see that where opportunities come in that just come in seemingly out of nowhere. That is because, we'll talk about that one sec. My guide's getting excited. That is where the pathway opens up, and the mission is the key part of that pathway. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be a medium necessarily. What it means is when I think about service and how I want to serve, I light up with joy. And I feel that joy. When I listen to my people that I work with on my membership and I hear them say, oh my goodness, I love that. I ran this group. I felt amazing. It didn't feel like work. That's when you know you're in alignment with your mission. Now that will change. And and it will expand and evolve, but always follow the joy. And one of the things the guides are just saying is that if we have a reading, that reading is the highest possibility in your vibrational pot. But it does not mean that is going to happen on that timeline. We have to be the frequency match for it. Okay. So when we're thinking about, you know, if you're thinking now and listening to this and thinking, right, okay, but I don't know what my mission is, I would say, which a lot of people say, you do on a soul level know what your mission is, because that's what you chose. You came into experience being human so you could share your message or your light with the world. And it doesn't matter what it is you do, it has to be in a place of complete happiness and joy of doing it. Okay. And when it starts to feel like I'm doing this just for money, or I'm doing this because I should, or I'm doing this, it's probably not your soul's mission, but part of it probably was. So if you work in finance, let's say, or PR or whatever, then there's a part of that, maybe working with the people, was part of your mission. And then as you expand, and definitely don't give up your job. I'm not suggesting anyone should give up their job. In fact, that's one of the things I say never do. Because what happens is, as you feel secure with your income coming in, you can then expand out, and you might do a voluntary piece of work, or you might set up a free Facebook group, or, you know, whatever it might be. And you just find your way. And as you find your way, you start to feel more at peace. You find more joy. People give you that reflection back, then the world expands. Yeah. So then the opportunities come in. And so really, I would say that the key thing about living in this golden age that we're living in now is to remember that you're here for a really important reason. And that really important reason is unique to you, and no one can tell you what that needs to be. They can guide you, and I do mission readings and which guide people. The guides will tell me what they came in to experience, what led them to experience that and to release that so that they can be who they're meant to be in the world. But they will not tell you specifically, because that has to come from you, and it has to be your free will of what you do. But I know that, you know, I was a psychologist for a long time in child protection. I worked with veterans with PTSD for a long time, but that led me to my speaking career. I didn't know that I was going to be a speaker. I didn't know that that's where I was meant to be. But by doing the research with the veterans, which is no longer my mission, but the research with the veterans led me to be invited to speak. And then it was TV and all sorts of stuff after that. But it just opens doorways. So wherever you are in your life right now is perfect. And it's just our opportunity to just expand to that next level, release that next part of you that doesn't serve you anymore. And you know exactly what that is, because you will have been getting little nudges all the time. And we just had an amazing full moon. And it was a full moon in Pisces. I'm an intuitive astrologer as well. And the full moon in Pisces was the end of a cycle. And it was massively the time to end a cycle of the old way of us doing things and coming back into the new way as we go into the next part of Aries. We're coming back into, right, drive. Where am I going next? What am I doing? What do I really need to bring out to the world? So it's an incredible time, and lots of people had, I call ascension symptoms, we might call them, but, you know, colds and things going on with them, which sometimes got labeled. But, you know, this is an amazing opportunity to do some deep clearing of our frequency and the cellular structure, so that we can release that's held within the cells. It's kind of like an internal cleansing system when we have a cold or when we have a virus or something like that. That allows us to then shed our skin essentially and go into that next realm of our frequency. Yeah. And the diet that we put into our physical body is transforming and changing too. And more and more and more, we're listening to and refining what feels right to us. I know that I don't know about you guys, but I can't eat bread, I can't eat pasta, it just doesn't, for me, it just doesn't work. And as much as I do like that, it doesn't work for me. So I have to listen to my body and listen to my frequency and what I need to keep my frequency where I need it to be for alchemy and ascension.
Oh, so all the good, all that, like it's so recognizable as well, because I just like this weekend something shifted entirely, also around who I am, like all the things you're just saying, it's like 100%. And I think even like when I hear you speak about the diets, we can do it. But what will happen is we will not sleep, we will feel very tired, we will feel like nausea and like all of the like that's it. Like, and so it's like a literal choice. Are you here to feel empowered in your frequency, in the pure bliss, right? Are you able to hold the bliss? Because again, with a lot of abundance, like holding a lot of light actually is pretty, like you can say it's only, but it's a lot. Like a lot of light is also like very expansive experience, right? And so I know you were also gonna do an activate. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to make the bridge between holding light and releasing? Like, let's see what comes up. I give you the stage.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, they are gathering, so I can see them all gathering. So I think we will do this, but I think just a couple of words before we do it. So when the guys are all going to come in a moment, and if you haven't experienced light language or toning, frequency toning, then just be open to receive it. You may feel this in your body. You may feel this as a vibration. You may feel nothing. You may feel emotion. Whatever it is, whatever's supposed to happen for you will happen. I'm going to prepare a sacred space before I do it anyway. And this is one of the key recipes of whenever we do any spiritual work. It's really important to create a sacred healing space first. I already did it before I came on the show, but I'll do it so that you all can do it with me. And it takes 20 seconds to do. And then we're going to ground and connect, and then the guides will come in. And the key thing they're telling me actually is they want to, as you said, Sigrid, was to utilize more light. So they're going to be releasing, one sec, what is that? Yeah, okay. So what they're saying to me is they're going to be releasing the level of fear from the times before that we felt we couldn't exist. Okay, so they're saying to me that that is when we've had lifetimes where we have, okay, it's quite deep, met our demise and we felt we didn't finish our mission. Okay, so there's still hanging around, I feel, in the collective, this feeling of, well, are we going to make it this time? Are we going to make it this time? So I think this is really good, actually. And that's why Melchizedek's here, Merlin's here. So it's going to be an alchemy. It's going to be an alchemy activation, but in the process of releasing these fears that we cannot actually ascend. Wow. Okay. As you can tell, I didn't plan that. That's what they tell me beforehand. I just trust my team completely. So let's go for it, because we all want to bring more light in. We all want to expand to the next frequency of our incredible alchemy, so that we can manifest more easily and just bring more opportunities in, so we can share our light with the world. Okay, so let's just come into our heart space and close your eyes if you feel you would like to. I'm just going to have mine closed so that I can connect. So I just want you just to breathe normally in through your nose and out through your mouth. Create all that is as commanded, that you pull, clear, cancel and delete on all 4 levels and resolve on the history level. For everyone here present and anyone listening after, any waywards, any watchers, any entities, any attachments, any thought forms, anything that does not serve us, and to send it to pure unconditional love, allowing us all to receive, to heal, to hear, and to feel the frequency of activation within our heart. 'Tis done, 'tis done, 'tis done. Okay, good. So remain in your heart space and remain in your breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And I want you just to imagine that there is a beautiful golden light in your heart, and each time you breathe now, it pulses out, expanding out into your field, into your crystalline light field, which shines out to the universe. So I just want you to expand that light out. And as you start to do this, bring some sparkles in there as well. So it's a sparkling energy of adamante particles of light, which is really who you are. Just remembering who you are in this moment. And expand through down to your feet, remembering to breathe. And expand down to the earth. Now imagine the earth is golden, the new golden earth that we're creating, we're all creating in this now moment. And I want you to imagine that there is a beautiful crystal star in the center of the earth, and this is your earth star. And I want you to feel the energy as beautiful golden roots come from your feet. And they're platinum, actually, golden, sparkling platinum roots from your feet all the way down, connecting with your very own earth star. And as you do that, you start to feel the support from Mother Earth, from Mother. Even if you didn't feel supported in this life, and just feel that support from Mother Earth for being human. Good. And then connect with your heart once again and bring that light up to the crown of your head. Through your shoulders, through your head, up to the crown. And imagine a beautiful expanded sparkling light coming from the crown of your head. In the Ascension chakra frequency, it's always golden with a platinum energy. And then just above that, I want you to imagine a beautiful six-pointed star. And this is your soul star. And this connects you to your multi-dimensional selves, the aspects of you that have lived many lifetimes, many timelines, and the pure wisdom of the multiverse. So I want you to bring a beautiful, thank you, rainbow light all the way down from that star throughout you, emitting the full spectrum of light. So just be in that beautiful rainbow light, almost like a shower they're showing me. Okay, good. So just connecting with your heart and just open the opportunity. If there's something that you need to release in your life right now that you might see as a lower density, a lower energy, it might be a fear, it might be something that is happening for you right now that's coming up for you. And just know that with this intention, this will be released today, alongside all of those lifetimes where we felt we didn't make it, we didn't get to ascension, we didn't complete our mission. Okay. So just bear with me while I bring in these incredible beings. So this is the Palladian Collective stepping in first, and they're coming in to release resentment. So this comes as a tone, and they're saying to me to imagine a magenta sparkling light in your heart. So here we go. Okay, take a deep breath, stay there, stay present. Just feel the expansion in your heart. Good. Now I can see Melchizedek stepping in, and whenever he steps in, he has an activation coming through for mission. So this is beautiful, and he's ready and waiting. But before this happens, the Sirian High Council are coming in with light language, and as they come in a moment, you'll listen to the frequency of the light language, and as you listen to it, you can feel the resonance within your heart and a knowing in your soul. And this is going to clear up all those old stories that we were talking about the times that you felt you didn't reach the end of your mission, you didn't complete it. And they're telling me that this is where this is held within all of us as a collective. So just receive. Take a deep breath. Just feel that resonance. Ah, beautiful. Okay, so I can see Melchizedek here, and he stands with his book open. It is the Book of Codes of Alchemy, and he holds it open, and I can see the codes coming off of the page and coming for us. And so I want you to imagine, there is a tone coming in. I want you to imagine that these codes are flowing into, oh, thank you, flowing into your DNA and expanding the DNA frequency that you hold for alchemy. Okay, so here it goes. Just stay there for a moment because I can just see this still settling. And just feel that feeling of possibility within you now. What can be possible now for you in your life? The joy frequency, the next part of your mission, the honouring of who you are, the honouring of this physical vehicle that you chose. And most of all, the remembering that you are here and that you are never on your own. And so it is. And just come back when you feel ready. And just feel more peace within your heart.
Thank you so much. What I love is that I get to experience it.
And me too.
Like it was so bright. So yeah. I usually, do you want me to share a little about it?
Yeah, love to.
Because it was so good. So that what you have behind you was like massively ignited, even more like precise underneath me. I'm like, okay. And then above, and then also when the book opened, I saw literally, like he was literally standing in front of me with all the pages. I could see like it's almost like the wind, you know, it was like a fastness. And then as you make the sound, it's like literally it comes in and it.
Yeah, I could feel it in the back of my head. I could feel it in the causal chakra, you know, like the happening there. I'm very hot, actually.
Yeah, me too. And also, like something I realized. I always feel such great responsibility, and I've done a lot around that. Like, and it makes me teary because it's the responsibility I now realize of finishing my mission. Like, I always feel like I can't stop this. Like there's this strong, and it's almost like a liberation. Like, of course I will live it, but there's no longer that clear, like such strong, like almost feeling responsible for others and all of that. Like it was just like, woof. I'm like, thank you. That was.
Now you get it. Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, you know, and on the, I know we'll share about the offer shortly, but when we're thinking about these codes of alchemy, you know, that was on the level of, you know, us not finishing our mission or perceiving that we didn't finish our mission. So what happens with that, exactly what you said, is that we come in thinking we need to heal the world.
Yes.
Right. And so, you know, we come in, and that's a good thing, but it's never our job to do that.
No.
Yeah. But we felt perhaps it was our job, especially Atlantean times and so on. We felt like it was our job. And my galactic healing crystal chambers, and one of them, which is the alchemy chamber, which is part of our offering today, they were born from those times, you know, when we remembered that we could just walk into a crystal energy and just heal something, you know, and we just forget all of that. So by receiving these codes, we're remembering all of this stuff, you know, and then obviously the chambers really help.
Can you share more, because you have an extraordinary offer?
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
everyone, you now can, like, can everyone feel the work? I'm not really looking in the chat, but I love that you also connect with each other. No problem. Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's
so,
great.
yeah, so for everyone, she's going to share the offer, and then there's time for some questions.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure.
So
Sure,
if you
sure,
have
sure. Yeah, we'll
questions
bring
already, put
guides
them in
in.
the chat. And
Yeah.
can you just share more about this
Sure.
offer?
Yeah. So I ran a couple of really incredible retreats, and one was clearing the blocks to your multidimensional self. So we've had many, many, many lifetimes doing many, many different things, and we have been on many different galactic lifetime experiences as well. And so what this workshop did was, it was 90 minutes, it was an hour and a half, and it worked with all of those parts of us from those different energies. So we were clearing on a deep level, and I wanted to share that with you guys because it was so powerful. And then another one that I wanted to share was Alchemy, the golden keys of alchemy, because Merlin and Melchizedek came in and worked on many, many different levels of alchemy. So this was on, you know, levels to do with money, levels to do with our relationships, many levels. Okay. So I wanted to share that one. And it was really exciting that Merlin was standing here just overseeing and looking at that. So I know that that was definitely really important that I added this as a package. And then the other thing, which is really exciting, which is the Alchemy Healing Chamber. So for a whole month, you get put in a chamber. Now, the Galactic Crystal Healing Chambers, if you don't know what they are, I mean, essentially a technology where you might have heard of the med beds. It's similar, but it's on a deeper frequency level. So it's remote, and once you sign up to it, you're literally in it for a month. And so I do this in private sessions quite a lot, but I also have many chambers on my website. But this one specifically is around alchemy. So it's really going to help with your ascension, and it clears the ancestral lineage, lifetimes, childhood, shock that's held in the body as well. The doctor guides come in and do that. And our thought forms that come from sometimes when we've had implants and things like that put in. So they all get removed, and that is really exciting. So we wanted to put this chamber in, and all of this together is just $77. It's usually a lot more than that, but we decided to do it as, or 77 euros, however you do it. But it was 77. So I tuned into that and I was like, what do you want to do this for? And it was 77. So is it euros or dollars? I can't remember how you do it, Sigrid.
Yeah, it's on your end. So you might even do
Oh, so it might be pounds. Yeah, it might be pounds. Whatever we did it.
Euro and the
However we
dollar
did it.
is similar now. So
yeah. So 77.
Yeah.
So 77, whatever. It's the frequency it holds. So yeah, so essentially that's what I'm offering as my package. And yeah, I'd love it if you'd like to, you know, experience that, because it's really powerful healing.
Yeah. And so, Johanna, can you drop the link in the chat? For everyone who is listening to the replay, the link is in the email. It's like a form where you leave your details, and then your team will, actually, Susan and her team will pick it up. So you can either use this one in the chat or also the email. And if you can't find it anywhere you're listening to this, just email us. Okay, email us or Susan, and it will like all work out. Yeah. Makes sense.
And I'll send it to Wendy, and Wendy can work it out.
Wendy, we are so like thrilled with, I have my Johanna, she has her Wendy.
Wendy.
Have women like that, like supporting the space in this way.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so I'm so excited. Look at how many people live. Actually, over like 2,200 people already participated, for everyone to know. It's very exciting, and people still come in, and a lot of people are live right now.
That's amazing.
Do you have a question, like what we have been talking about? Because now is actually the moment to ask them.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. It's so fun. There's already one. Can you see it as well? Lila asked, I'm feeling very apathetic. When I think feel into creating something, I just don't want to do it. Wondering what's happening. Is it tiredness from energy work, 5G frequency, diet, or something else? Wondering what the guides offer. Or would you offer?
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, the first thing I hear about this is story. So it's almost like, and there's no judgment with this, by the way, but we step into the story of how it used to be. And I actually worked with someone this morning on this, and it's where we're so familiar being in that story that we drop into that story. And that's what I'm really feeling about this question, is that as we start to live, thank you, every single, oh, this is Ashtar actually stepping in here. One sec. Okay, for this person, this is to ask your galactic team to assist you with this, because I'm actually being told that there's something coming through for you, and it's coming through you to be written. Okay, so I think this is why you're feeling that apathy, if that's the word you used. There's this feeling of, oh gosh, it's kind of boring, things like that. That's because you haven't quite got that alignment of that thing you were meant to bring through, and that's okay. I used to get bored, and it was because there was something major I was supposed to do, and I know now that it was to get my book out in the world, which I'm doing. But it does leave you in that place because your soul knows there's something more. And that's what I'm feeling for this person, is that absolutely to ask your galactic team to bring that forward for you now. Okay, that's what I'm really feeling.
Thank you so much. And more questions come in. You can also read them and just pick the one where you feel resonance with.
I'll bring the chat up then. Okay.
Yeah, because then you can choose, because we have like 8 more minutes, so we might not be able to answer all questions. So feel which one you are pulled into most.
Yeah, I'm feeling drawn to this one with somebody called Tasha. So it says, so what is the best process to bring in more light during these challenging times with COVID, etc.? Well, first of all, COVID is a label that somebody has given something that's happening in the world. And when we remember that, and this is no judgment as well, it's when we remember that name itself holds a frequency, we then, it's the same as the frequency of people's belief around cancer. So as soon as we hear that word, we literally automatically think, oh, that's a really bad thing, right? I call it coming home. Cancer is about coming home to who we truly are and that amazing opportunity. But with this, I would say that bringing more light in is a practice. So I would say that every single day it's important. The process that I used where it was clearing the space, create all that is, use that every morning, every night, and I use it in between clients obviously as well. But to sit with that statement, ground through your earth star, connect with your soul star, and be in that silence, even if it's for 30 seconds. Okay, the old days we used to sit and meditate for 20 minutes. Now we just need to be in that light for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Okay, if we can do that every single day, that's bringing in more light. It's bringing in the place of our true knowing, and then we're not dipping into fear or beliefs that somebody else has chosen to have that might not be our belief. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much for the answer, and you can have a look, because there's so many coming in. But it's nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hasna, last question here on this thread. My dark night of the soul hit me in my eyes and my work. So no work, and after eye surgery and 2 years of healing, my eyes won't heal. Any suggestions with healing of my eyes? Yeah. What do you feel eyes are about? They're about seeing, aren't they? But we also have an incredible inner vision. My feeling for you is to really start to realize that you have this ability to have your own inner knowing and your own inner vision, and to connect in with that. And I think this is why you're going through this, because it's remembering that you have that incredible power to see without seeing. And I'm not saying that you won't see and that will never happen for you. That's not my job to tell you that. But I do feel like connecting with, in fact, if you just do it now, if we all do it, we could just come into that bridge of your nose. Just focus light in there, literally just 10 seconds. Just imagine a light at the bridge of your nose, just in between your eyes. Good. And just expand that out. That is expanding your inner vision. Okay. And then working with your guides to give you that knowing. And what I'm really hearing for you specifically is the fear of what I'm seeing. Okay. And cataracts, for example, is I don't want to see. You know, I'm afraid of what I'm seeing. So I cover it over because I don't want to see it. Okay. So that is essentially what the guides are saying to you, is that connect in with that true inner vision, because you have an incredible ability to, thank you, to see for others, but to see for yourself, there's a lack of trust there. I hope that helps. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I know we have way more questions, and I also want to honor your time. And so is there anything after what we have been talking about, when it comes down to everything what has been shared, when it also comes down to the empowered embodiment and the alchemy, what do you want to share to bring it over?
Yeah, sure. I'm just going to ask them to share something. So hold on. So what they're saying is that, and this is actually Mother Mary, when we remember that we are this incredible light, and if we were to take off this jacket, this light underneath is all knowing, all seeing, all loving, no restrictions, completely free. That's who we truly are. And it's only when we put on this jacket, this physical being, that we doubt who we truly are. Okay. And so to remember that if we were to just remove that for 1 second in our mind, what would our soul be doing right now? Forget the human. What would our soul be taking us towards right now? And I feel like that is really key, because our soul knows exactly where we're meant to be in any given moment. And if you've been drawn to listen to this show, then your soul has guided you here to listen to it and to hear these messages from all of us, because it's really important right now that you remember 100% who you are, which is an incredible being, just choosing to be human this time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are amazing, right? So everyone, if you want to share anything in the chat, what you experienced, what changed, what shifted, what awakened for you, whatever comes up, it would be really nice. And in the meanwhile, we're going to have a next session like in 30 minutes. Can you imagine this, like full blown, like
that's great
level? Like the introduction which you gave is just amazing. So I'm just so excited. You just opened this, like no coincidence, 100% divinely. Yeah, I loved it. I love what you share. I love your energy and who you are. I love your level of service, your clarity, the power of communication, the fun in how you co-create. Like, I love that a lot too. Like, oh, there's this one. I just recognize, I recognize it all. I so appreciate you being here. So thank you so much for
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate being here too. It's been great. Thank you so much for the opportunity and to share, you know, what I love doing in the world, which is to help people align to their mission.
Yeah, and you definitely do that. And there's so much love in the chat. I so loved all of this. Thank you. Loved it. I like not knowing. Thank you. I love this. Like, there's just a lot of love going on in the chat for you, and also for your personality, right? Because sometimes it's also nice that the personality gets to receive.
Yeah, I receive it. Thank you. Yeah,
and so for everyone, we will be back in 30 minutes. In the meanwhile, if you feel really drawn to her offer, go check it out. It's hot right now. You know why it's important. And maybe you also feel called into listening to all of the sessions. You can actually do that through accessing my app for 22 years, you will have infinite access. So that might also be something. I love you all. I will talk to you in 30 minutes. And again, thank you so much, Susan. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Johanna, can you unmute everyone so we can say goodbye? Yes. Everyone here? Yes. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Plug you in. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye-bye.